quickly talk about there are lots of difficulties in life, and as well as it really happens at the community level, the national level, international level. So, how do one navigate through these difficulties, and what would be a typical success formula to navigate through these difficulties? And we know, as live in America, that we are seeing lots of bloodshed and lots of conflict in different parts of the world. And unfortunately, the situation in the United States is not that best for the long term. For short term, yeah, we are pretty solid economy. Still very good employment, and stock market is doing well. But the bigger indicators are really very alarming. And for that, I thought that I share with you a um, five-step formula that might help us navigate difficulties in our personal life, and that might help as a nation and as a community leader, and more importantly, even as an entrepreneur and a company leader as well. I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of CEOs and you know company heads, and they are talking about how they are having difficulties in their personal as well as in their company. And unfortunately, we don't really look at the holistic picture. So this is kind of the five step formula I follow, and I thought I shared that with you. The first step is really having the faith, believing in what you're doing, because if you don't really have that conviction yourself, that you cannot make your other, either community members or your team members have that conviction. Because if they don't have that conviction, and if you cannot show them what you really believe in, like if you have a vision, leadership job is to make others see that vision, so they have that faith and they have that conviction that this is really this is something, it's going to happen. There is no uh, second if and but about it. It is definitely the thing which is going to happen. That's it. There's really no in this way. We don't take no for an answer. This is really for sure a clear vision. So the leadership job is to make their team members see that vision. Unfortunately, we don't have a great vision at this point. Even in our country leadership. I mean, I see that even our leadership right now is confused. They don't even know which direction they're going in. So what direction can they really show their countrymen? And that's the reason when you have the disarray and confusion at the top leadership level, even that is a country or a company or a community, it doesn't matter. The lack of faith and vision really go hand in hand, and that really create lack of conviction, and hence you can never really see your goal. Forget about achieving the goal if you don't really see it. And that's exactly the way nations come down, because they don't really see the fate, and hence they do not prepare for it and try for it. So that's the first thing that they really need to be able to excuse me, they need to be able to see their fate and have a vision, and then execute that vision. And that really take me to my next step, and that is having uh, having a personality that really have no fear of anyone except God, except except the superpower, the only power that control the entire universe. And, we should have a belief in that and believe in our own abilities, because these abilities, I mean, we are really very small in the bigger scheme of things. But if you create your connectivity with the the ultimate power, you can call it God, you can call it Allah, you can call it whatever the ultimate power, you can call it nature. You connect yourself with that power, and then you become you know as big as, because your connectivity with the biggest power of this universe. Hence your power become very, very big, unchallengeable, because you are now connected. Imagine you are in a magnetic field, and if you create a huge magnetic field around you, I mean, you could be just one dot and you may not attract this much metal, but if you expand your connectivity, and your network become bigger, 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 bigger. Now imagine your value you have is the value of your network. It's not just your value, it's your network value. That's the reason people say it's not your abilities, your strength, how smart you are, but how smart of a network you set around you. And that if your network is keep expanding and expand so much that you even have the network and direct connectivity with the creator himself, then imagine your power, your connectivity. So, I mean, if you don't believe in God, and it's okay as long as you understand the concept of connectivity and connect yourself with the biggest network you can think of. And whatever you can think of, that's the faith. Whatever you can think of, you can be that. So if you think about yourself, then you're yourself. But if you have a team, then you're that team. If you have that community, then you're that community. The idea is to connect yourself and keep making yourself bigger, bigger, bigger. Just like this universe is keep expanding, you keep expanding your network, it goes all the way to the creator. You understand what I'm saying? That your network will have an undoubtable largest power that can be. So that really, and then not only you have that network, but you also have that ability to transform that network and have that change management coming from you, so that you become the beacon of light for others. So even others coming into your network, they may not have that network, their network get bigger. And you should be open to enlightening others. It's like you are a beacon of light and others are taking your light, just like you have taken light from somebody before. So more light you give, your own light will become bigger. It's just like knowledge. When you distribute knowledge, your knowledge become bigger. Just like that, if you distribute your network and you help others with your network, your own network become bigger and your own power become bigger. So really you become the differentiator, you become innovator, you become differentiator, and you become such a differentiator that others around you become differentiator as well. So that's the second step. Then the third step really is what I call wisdom, hikmah, strategy, that whatever you do, you don't do it without thinking through and having a strategy. Whatever you do, you plan, you set your strategy. Don't work with tactics. See, like an example right now, that one day we hear from Trump that, okay, we are winning and we are very, very close to the contract with Iran. And then the other day we see there's nothing. So that really is lack of planning and lack of strategy. We just keep moving left, right, back, front, because we don't have a strategic direction. We don't have wisdom and well thought out strategy. Remember, I shared with you 3 types of leadership: executional, thought, and spiritual leadership. And honestly, execution is here, thought is here, and spiritual is here. As you move along from executional to strategic to spiritual, that you are becoming more like a beacon for others, and your network become bigger and bigger and bigger, and you become really, you go on the top. So you're on the top of the pyramid. So that's really, you are executing, but now even if you become more of a light, that all the people under you executing becomes your execution. All the people under you taking the wisdom and strategizing become your strategy. Hence, you are becoming more spiritual, where you are not doing things for you, you're doing for others. And then the whole network become enlightened. So that's really the third step, that you have a strategy, you have a wisdom, you have a hikmah. Then the next really step is reliance, self reliance, and reliance on your network, and reliance on your supernatural thinking and your supernatural power, and on God. You have a strong reliance on God if you believe. You have a strong reliance on nature if you believe. You have a strong reliance of network if you believe, and you have strong reliance on your abilities if you believe. So you got to really have a very, very strong reliance. And if you have a well built out network and team, then you got to rely on that. And you got to keep building. It's not just one way, it's multi dimensions, going from bottom to top and top to bottom. And then the last but not least is really the patience. So you need to really not just have a faith, not just have to take actions and have a differentiation, and become the beacon of light, and not only build strategy and use strategy and use wisdom, but also become the light for others, and then build that network, and then having reliance on that network. But most importantly, at the end, you must have patience. You cannot just expect that it's happening like this. Everything has time, and everything has its own path. Your job is to keep building and keep delivering, keep giving benefit, and keep marching. And trust me, it will eventually becomes what you want if you have the patience. And that really is my message today. May God help us all. Thank you.